you have to read Sanskrit, and for learning Sanskrit you need 12 years. And to learn Vedic Sanskrit you need another 12 years or maybe 6 years. So first you spend your 18 years to learn Sanskrit, and then you read Vedas, but still you'll not be able to read Vedas because Vedas are written in codes. They are in codes, coded language. So you need to decode that codes. And for decoding those codes, you need to learn 6 more books. And that is 𝗦ci, 𝗪𝗃, न्याय, छंद, शब्द, कल्प, ज्योतिष and निरुक्त. So these 6 books you have to read. Nirukt means grammar, the dictionary of Vedas. न्याय means logic, and chanda means meter, how those codes are formed. And then kalpa means how those codes are applied. Jyotish, astronomical calculations. All these things you have to learn. And for learning this, you need another 8 to 10 years. And then you can understand Vedas. So by the time you come to read Vedas, your life is over. And that was the problem. That's what Krishna saw. That they can't even start to read Vedas. What to do? So Krishna came 5,000 years back and he spoke Bhagavad Gita. He condensed all the knowledge of Vedas in Bhagavad Gita in 18 chapters and 700 verses in simple Sanskrit. For understanding Bhagavad Gita Sanskrit, you don't even need to know Sanskrit. It's so simple. It's so simple. You can just read and understand that. So Krishna made it easy. So Bhagavad Gita is a essence of Vedic knowledge. 𝗙𝗲𝗶𝗪𝗀𝗀 𝗪𝗲𝗀. We all know this, no? So that is why Prabhupada says, whatever you can find in all Vedic literatures, that's there in Bhagavad Gita. Whatever you don't find in Vedic literatures, that's also there. Bhagavad Gita is so important that you can afford to forget your name, but you can't afford to forget Bhagavad Gita. Because if you forget Bhagavad Gita, you forget the manual of your life. You don't know how to lead your life, no? So science can tell you how to operate machines, but Bhagavad Gita will tell you how to operate your life. There is no subject in any of the university across the globe which teaches you how to lead your life, what to do, what not to do. That's not there. Science can give you Apple iPhone, but cannot tell you what to do with it. No, there is no mathematical equation which can tell you what to do with that phone. That's your own discretion. To use it for benefit of this world or to destroy this world. You can do that. So Bhagavad Gita tells you ethics. And that is what is right, what is wrong. Some codes and conducts. And Bhagavad Gita's and ethics is to do with life, no? Life, what is important? To take right decisions, no? So that's Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita tells you about aesthetics. That means Bhagavad Gita tells you what is love, what is friendship. In fact, the Greek philosopher Socrates, his whole career was just to understand, okay, what are these virtues? That's what he was discussing and discussing with his friends. What do you mean by friendship? What do you mean by love? And friendship and love, this cannot be understood by science, is it? Does Microsoft has any software to understand what is friendship? No. There's no physics, no chemistry, nothing like that. It is beyond scientific tools, and that is in Bhagavad Gita. Life is all about friendship, relationship, love, virtues, right and wrong. And we don't have any book for that. That's the problem with the society. And Bhagavad Gita will tell you this. So Bhagavad Gita will tell you aesthetics, ethics, and also Bhagavad Gita will tell you 2 important questions. Who are you? And what is the purpose of your life? Which science doesn't even want to entertain these questions. What to talk about solutions? These questions, who am I and what is purpose of my life? these questions long ago, they gifted to philosophers. This is your job. We don't want to worry about this. You think about this. And then they labeled this as metaphysics, no? Or mythology, or whatever name you say. So Bhagavad Gita is very important for our life. You can afford to not have a car, a house, or maybe all appliances, but you can't afford to not get answers to this question, who am I? Is it? And what is the purpose of your life? So these two questions are answered in Bhagavad Gita, by the way. But how does Krishna manages to answer these questions? Now, you can't just tell anybody, like, you have to give some reasons and logical reason, no? So Bhagavad Gita is answer to these questions, but Krishna develops a theme to answer these questions. So let's see how does Krishna does that in Bhagavad Gita. So first chapter of Bhagavad Gita is, so what's the name of the first chapter? Anybody knows? Observing the armies. So first chapter is very important because there is a central teaching in first chapter. And you know what's happening? So we all know, Arjuna and Krishna, they're standing in battlefield. Is it? Kauravas and Pandavas. And Arjuna says, I don't want to fight. That's the point, no? But what do we learn from first chapter? What is the teaching? What does Krishna want to teach us? There's one important teaching which we all are confused with. And what is that? One important teaching is Arjuna considers morality over devotion. That's the problem with Arjuna. Arjuna thinks morals are important, more important than devotion, which most of us thinks, no? Doing good things is good. Those are more important than doing devotion to God. That's probably general Indian thinking. Maybe all over, or all across the globe, no? People of this world, they applaud themselves for being an atheist. Okay, I'm an atheist, but I'm a good atheist, no? So there's something called atheist. There's something called atheism 2.01. It's a new kind of atheism. And they say, okay, fine, we are atheist, but at the same time we are good. We are not atheist and we are bad, like Hitler or something, no? Huh? Yeah, human. So we are good atheist. And then they say, this is okay, fine, this is enough. But that is the first chapter. First chapter of Bhagavad Gita is Arjuna is confused. And first chapter of Bhagavad Gita teaches you, even if you are the best person in this world, but if you don't connect yourself with God, then you will end up in miseries and frustration. That's what is the teaching of first chapter. So, bad is bad, but good is also bad if it is not linked to God. Ultimately, it will lead to sufferings and miseries. Ultimately, it will become problems. So, like for example, Einstein. Einstein was a good scientist. He was very nice. He was good, and he invented E is equal to mc square. But what happened? We all know E is equal to mc square was used for making a nuclear bomb. And Einstein said that was the biggest mistake of my life. One of the biggest mistakes, two mistakes, but which was one of the biggest. He said, I never imagined that they will use E is equal to mc square for making a nuclear bomb. So why this happened? Because his goodness was not connected to God. People use that equation for bad goals, no? So that's what Krishna says. Anything not connected to me will ultimately end up in sufferings. And there's a verse for that. Yehi samsprija sukha 𝗪𝗀𝗪𝗀𝗪. Anything which you find happiness, which is not connected to me, it will lead to miseries. Definitely. So that's the first chapter. And so Arjuna says, Krishna, I don't want to fight. He's thinking about himself. He doesn't care what Krishna says. And Krishna is saying, you fight. But Arjuna gives his whole list. I don't want to fight Krishna because I have to kill my guru and this society and tak. So the problem with us is Arjuna is trying to tell us the problem with us. Krishna is trying to tell us through Arjuna, this is a problem with you. You are trying to be more intelligent than God. That's first chapter, no? Arjuna told Krishna, I don't want to fight. And then Krishna, these are the reasons. As if Krishna doesn't know these reasons. Is it? He could have, if he would have little sensible at that time, he could have known. He's giving these reasons to whom? To God. If Krishna is saying fight, he has already thought everything, no? But he's trying to be over intelligent. That's the problem with us. These two problems. First chapter. The first problem is we are trying to be good without God. And we think it is possible. And the second problem is we are trying to be over intelligent. We are trying to be over intelligent. We think whatever God says, that's not correct. That might be applicable long ago, but now it's not applicable. And we try to make our own plans. And Krishna says to Arjuna, Arjuna, if you don't listen to me, you will be lost in this material world. You'll be lost. So first chapter is talking about problems. First chapter is not answers. They are problems. There are so many problems, but this is the two main problems which we have to tackle, which we have to deal with. So that's why second chapter, so what's the name of second chapter? Concepts of Gita summarized. That is why second chapter Krishna begins with not with instructing Arjuna, but with scolding him first. Is it like that? So Krishna says to Arjuna, 𝗙𝗹𝗪𝗀𝗶𝗶 पार्थ नैतदेव उपपद्यते. Krishna says, you are foolish. Agatasu ungatasu unsha nanu shoshanti pandita. You're talking like a learned man, but you are number one fool. Because you are giving me reasons for not to fight as if I don't know anything. And you know who are you talking with? I'm God. I know past, present and future. And my decisions are always correct. That's God. That's a definition of God. He's perfect, no? So, first Krishna reprimands him. And then he starts his instructions. And the second chapter, Arjuna asked a question. Arjuna said, Krishna, whether should I fight or not fight? I'm confused. Finally he said. After Krishna scolds him, he said, Krishna, I'm confused. So second chapter, Arjuna doesn't tell him, Krishna doesn't tell Arjuna, you should fight or not fight. He doesn't give decision. Rather, he starts with a topic that you are not this, body or soul. So second chapter is a knowledge of soul. He gives the knowledge of soul. You are soul. And you know why he says that? Like it seems absurd, no? So if somebody comes and asks you, Prabhu, should I buy that car or don't buy that car? I'm confused. And then you say, no, sit. First I have to tell you your soul, you're not this body. He said, come on, what's this? I'm asking a question and you're mad or what? It's a different question, there's a different answer. And that's what Krishna says to Arjuna. Arjuna is saying, should I fight or not fight? Krishna says, your body, you're not this body, your soul. This answer seems absurd, but it is not absurd. Because Krishna says, Arjun, even if you win this fight, and if you don't know who are you have actually lost this battle. Is it? Because if you don't know who are you, and you win this fight, you have won the fight of this battle, but you have not won the fight of this life. You have not solved the main question. And like for example, if you go to asylum, you know asylum? Everybody, mad house, mad people live there. So if you go to asylum, and if you ask somebody, who are you? And if he says, I am Trump. If he says like that, I'm Trump in asylum, if you ask. So that guy might be the most richest person of the entire America, scientist, educated, but if he can't answer this basic question, who are you? And if he's saying I'm Trump, then he's a crazy man, no? His riches, his intelligence, his education is on one side. If he can't answer this simple question, is it? Will you praise him? Now so the doctor will come and he'll say, see, he's a scientist. He's having billions of dollars, but he can't answer this simple question. That's the only problem with him. He doesn't know who is he. That's the only problem. Will you praise him or what? No. He's mad. He has to be kept behind. He has to be kept in enclosure. Similarly, Krishna says, you might have everything after winning this war, but if you don't know this simple question, who are you? You're mad. You have an insane condition. And so Krishna says, first solve this question. First try to know who are you, and then we'll talk whether you should fight or not. You are saying whether I should fight or not. First understand who is I. And then we'll talk of this question, whether I should fight or not. First, I has to be defined. And that is why second chapter talks about soul and body. So Krishna says, you are soul, you are not this body. This is your entity. But then Arjun says, Krishna, is there any logical understanding that I am soul and not this body? Why should I believe you blindly? No? That's the point. I am soul, I am not this body. Why should I believe? So Krishna gives logic. Krishna gives too powerful logic for that. And Bhagavad Gita is very philosophical, very scientific. And Krishna gives two scientific and philosophical answers to make you understand you are not this body or soul. And the first logic is, we all know, Dehinosmin Yakamaram Yavanam Jara Tatha Dehantar Praptir. Okay, and this logic seems simple, but it's very deep logic, and many philosophers are struggling to understand this. It's still not solved. And the point of Krishna is, Krishna told Arjun, to understand you are this body, you're not your soul, you're not this body, you don't need science. You need common sense. That's what he begins with now. Because generally we ask, is there any scientific proof? No. Krishna could have given a scientific proof. He knows everything. Rather in 16th chapter, 17th chapter, Krishna is talking about science of mind. He's talking about science of food. He could have started with scientific reasons. But then Krishna says, you don't need scientific tools to understand you are not this body or soul. You need some common sense. Just common sense. But the problem is common sense is uncommon. That's the problem. We don't think that way. We think we need scientific proofs for everything. But you don't have scientific proofs for everything, no? You don't have scientific proofs of everything. Rather, to say that science can prove everything, that's an absurd proposal in first place. Science cannot prove everything. For example, science cannot prove... Okay, let me ask you a question. Does everybody feel pain here? You feel pain? Pain. Everybody feel pain, no? Okay. Can you show me the experience of pain to me? Can you show me your pain? If you are in pain, you can shout. That much you can do. Is it? You can shout, ah, or you can hold your limb. But you cannot show me your pain. You cannot make me experience your pain. That experience of pain is only for you. It's closed for you. It is for you. I cannot experience your pain. I can know by your shouting you are in pain. But you can also bluff. Is it? So just like children, they do know. Mama, I'm having headache. I'll not go to school. What to do? You can't experience that headache, no. You have to accept it. He can't prove the experience of his pain. He can't give the proof of the experience of his pain to you. Experience of pain is out of realm of science. It is subjective. It is with that person. You can't do anything with that, is it? So this simple thing, pain, is beyond science. You know you are in pain. I know I am in pain. He knows he is in pain. Neither I can prove to him I am in pain, neither he can prove to you you are in pain, neither you can prove to me you are in pain. You can do brain scan. You can see that this portion is lighting. This pain, this portion is lighting. But that doesn't give me the experience of your pain, no? I can just know, but not experience. So Krishna begins here. Krishna says, Arjun, don't ask me scientific evidence for everything. It's absurd. So a boyfriend loves a girlfriend. And the girlfriend asks, can you give a scientific evidence that you love me? Is it a good question? If it would happen like that, then there will be no relationships. Love is beyond scientific inquiry. Science doesn't have any tools to inquire about love. That is beyond that, no? Is it? It's beyond. That's why there's a realm of aesthetics. There's a different realm. It is realm of poets, philosophers, romanticists. There's a realm for them. So, to understand your soul, you're not this body, you need common sense. And there's a beautiful example of this. Krishna says, your body is changing. Child body is different, adult is different. But you are the same. I is same, no? You know you are you, is it? So when you get up in the morning, what's the first thing you remember? Tell me. The first thing you remember when you get up is I. I exist, is it? Because in sleep you forget yourself. As soon as you get up, again you get that I. You understand? You get that I. So I didn't change. You slept, you woke, you played, you did everything, you grew, but that I was same all along, no? I am this, that awareness of I. So Krishna gives the example that I will never change. Everything changes, and that I is you, and that is called soul. And it's very easy to understand your soul, very easy. You close your eyes and sit. And just think, who am I? And you will be immediately able to conclude you are not this body. Because everything in body is changing, no? Is it? All cells are changing. Even now science says, after every 7 years, your whole cells are different. Previously, we used to believe that brain cells do not change. We used to believe that. But now science has shown us, after 7 years, even your brain cells are different. So RBCs change after 120 days. Liver cells are changed after 5 years. Bone cells, they are changed after 6-7 years. And brain cells after 7 years. After 7 years, you have completely new set of molecules in your body. But I is it? After 8 years, you don't question, who am I? I am confused, whether I am a male or a female. Are you confused sometimes? you know, am I? It's beyond doubt. Am I? Am I? Whether I exist or not. Are you confused of this fact? Are you ever confused whether you exist or not? Will there be any confusion like this in your point of life, whether you exist or not? No. You know you exist. How are you sure you exist? How do you prove yourself? How have you convinced yourself that you exist? Tell me. How did you convince yourself that you existed, that you exist? By science? How did you do that? You didn't use science, you didn't use anything. You know this, no? You know this within yourself. I exist. Similarly, Krishna tells, if you think deep, you will know within yourself, I exist and I am different from body. But we don't think deep. That's the problem. We are involved in these changes of this material world. Our mind is just enamored by these changes, is flowing along with these changes, no? So much information, and we are not able to think deep, is it? So that's the first logic he gives. And the second logic Krishna gives, it's a beautiful logic. Krishna says that another verse, Vashamshi jirnani atha vihaya, navani grihnani naro aparani. So he says, just like you leave this dress, you change your dress, so at the time of death, you leave the dress of this body. Is it? You change this. And it's a very beautiful logic here. And philosophers are still struggling to understand this. That there's a question in philosophy that how, you see, okay fine, I'll explain you like that. So Krishna says this body is like a dress. This body is like a dress. You are different from this body. He says this. And it is very easy to understand this. You know why? Because if you were this body, okay fine, let me ask this question. Do you feel, okay fine, what do you feel about yourself? If you try to feel your body, what parts of your body you can feel? Tell me. What parts of your body you can feel? Your hand? And your leg, and probably your head, your stomach. Can you feel your heart? inside? Can you feel your spleen? Do you know what spleen? Yeah, if you're not a doctor, you'll not know. But there is a spleen inside you. So you can't feel organs inside you. You understand? And nevertheless, it is inside you. Do you feel at any point of time of your life? So suppose you get up in the morning and you feel, my God, my stomach is stuffed with so many organs. I must go to doctor and get some of them out. I'm feeling so heavy. You don't feel like that, no? We have no feeling of our organs inside the body. We just feel some limbs. And that's a big question. Why is it like that? Why is it that we don't feel our brain? We don't feel our liver, heart, stomach. We just feel outside our body. You got my point? This is because we are not this body. If we were this body, we should have felt everything about this body. Got my point? But we are not this body, therefore we don't feel everything about this body. We are something else. Is it clear? So just like we wear this dress, you can feel that this dress is on your body, but you don't feel the threads in this dress, no? You don't feel the thread, no? It is made of threads. You just feel the dress. So similarly, you feel this body as a dress, but you don't feel everything about this body because you're not this body. You're not conscious about this body of everything. Krishna gives a second reason. These two reasons Krishna gives. So in second chapter, Krishna gives logical reason, and there are many reasons, you go and read. Logical reasons of existence of soul. You're not this soul, your body. Okay, fine, that's over. But now the question is, simply knowing that you're not this body or soul doesn't solve the problem. Now you know you're not this body or soul, but are you realized? Have you realized this fact? No, it's a theoretical knowledge. Every Indian has heard Atma, Sharir, everyone has heard, no? But we don't realize this. It's just a theory. How to realize this? How to realize your soul, you're not this body? Krishna speaks third chapter. What's the name of third chapter? Karma Yoga. Krishna says, to make knowledge into realization, you have to do action. Is it? So that is why you go to class, school. School, there is theory class and practical. You know this, no? There's a lab also, no? So why there is practical class? Because whatever you learn in theory, you have to apply, and then you learn that thing in lab. So similarly, Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is action. You have to act in a certain way so that you realize that you are soul, you are not this body. Simply talking doesn't help. Talking will not help you. Because you can say, I am soul, I am not this body. But if somebody will harm your body, you will get fear. Is it? Because you think I am this body. So you need some practical knowledge. For that you have to act, and that is Karma Yoga. So just like in school we have theory class and laboratory, similarly in devotion, temple, this building is a theory class and material world is a laboratory. This whole world is a lab, big lab, where you have to work, where you work, you act, and you learn something from this word, if you want to learn. If you have knowledge, this word will teach you. If you have knowledge, sky will teach you, air will teach you, earth will teach you, fire will teach you. But if you want to learn. So that is why Krishna made this material world. So that whatever you learn in the temple, you go out and apply that. Is it? You should apply that. That is Karma Yoga. Simple, Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is acting in such a way in this material world so that it helps you to make the knowledge of soul into realization of soul. You realize that. So Karma Yoga will give you some rules how to act in this material world. What to do, what not to do. What to think, what not to think. How to act with people, how not to act with people. You got my point? All these rules and regulations are there in Karma Yoga. And this action will nurture your knowledge and nourish your knowledge and develop this knowledge into wisdom, into realization. You got my point? So that's Karma Yoga. But then the point is, when you start acting according to the codes and conducts of Bhagavad Gita, then what happens? So then you go to next chapter. What is the next chapter? Fourth chapter, Jnana Yoga. You start getting knowledge. Automatically you start getting knowledge. You start learning from everything. You start learning from everything. Like from sky. Sky you can learn something. And what you can learn? If you follow what Gita says, and if you follow codes and conducts properly, then automatically you start learning. Like for example, if you learn swimming and you start swimming, if you start swimming, automatically the more you swim, the more expert you become, is it? The more you swim, the more things you learn by experience. Experience makes you learn. So when you learn swimming, so experience will tell you, okay, so if you swim in this angle, you can learn, you can swim fast. If you swim in this angle, you will not become tired. So when you act in such a way, how Gita tells you, you will start getting experience and not knowledge now. So Jnana Yoga is transcendental knowledge. That is experience. You will get experience. You will start learning. So when you will see the sky, you will not think it is beautiful blue sky. You will learn something from that sky. And what does sky teach us? Anybody tell? What does sky teach us?
The expansiveness.
Sky teaches us, you see sky, so sky is so big, so large. Yeah, so sky teaches us that this is what is mind of God. So sky is so big, no? It has no limits, no end, no beginning. Similarly, mind of God is endless. Infinite knowledge, like sky. Just like sky is so pure. So if you don't have clouds, it's spotless pure. So sky teaches this is how our mind should be. Spotless pure. Not a single tinge of lust, anger, greed, envy, selfishness. Sky teaches this is the mind of a pure soul. You start learning from everywhere. From everywhere you start getting knowledge. Prakashakam anamayam. From everywhere you start getting light. That is Jnana Yoga. You start getting experience. Experience. So you can learn from water. Just like water flows from high level to lower level. Similarly, the devotees of Lord go from high level to lower level. They automatically gravitate towards lower level. They don't like to project themselves high. That's the idea. So that is Jnana Yoga. You start getting experience. You start getting experience of God. When you act on the platform of soul, you come in contact with super soul. That is Jnana Yoga. Because to know oneself is to know God. To know God is to know oneself. And that's simple to understand. If you know the taste of a drop of an ocean, you know the taste of entire ocean. Is it? Simply, you take a drop of ocean, say it is salty, and you can conclude entire water is salty. It's very simple. So if you know yourself, which is like a drop, soul, you can know super soul, who is big. And you can immediately conclude like that. We are spiritual, he is also spiritual. Is it? Like that? We want to love, he also wants to love. Whatever quality we have, that quality he has. Whatever quality he has, that quality we have. Difference is in quantity, but quality is the same. So that is 4th chapter, okay. Experience. So the more you act, the more experience you have. And then the 5th chapter is action in Krishna Consciousness. But the problem is, you can do some action, you can get that experience, but if you don't join experience and action, you don't go forward. Your knowledge and action should go together, just like two wheels of a car, a cart. So Krishna says, fuse both action and knowledge. Don't act without knowledge, and don't take knowledge without action. Is it? Because knowledge without action will bring pride. And action without knowledge is useless. It's mechanical. You don't know why you are doing what you are doing. You understanding, no? So Krishna says, fuse both action and knowledge. That is why Krishna says that when you come to devotion, when you do something, you should know why you are doing. When you sweep the floor, you should know why you are sweeping the floor of the temple. How it will help me. When you're chanting, you should know why I am chanting. It's not just a blind process you keep on doing. That is 5th chapter. So you act with knowledge, and at the same time, don't keep on listening and don't do anything. If you keep on listening lectures and if you don't do anything practically, then that doesn't help. So the idea is knowledge nurtures action. Knowledge nurtures action, and action converts knowledge into wisdom. That's, both are dependent on each other. So that is where, so you see anybody who comes to the temple, anybody who comes to temple, so what we tell him? They hear lectures like this. We tell him about soul and body, basic stuff, and then we say, okay, do some service. Is it? That's what we do. So Karma Yoga, do some service. Jnana Yoga, give some knowledge. And they have to do together, both things. Hear and do some service, help something. And that's how they advance in Krishna consciousness. So we say chant Hare Krishna, that is action. Or and then we say here read Bhagavad Gita. That is 4th chapter, Jnana Yoga. But then you have to fuse them both. Don't just keep on reading and don't just keep on chanting. Don't just keep on sweeping the floor and don't just keep on listening to lectures. You have to do both of them. Because if you do what you are doing without understanding why you are doing, then you are like a machine. You have no effect. So having said that, okay, you have to fuse action and knowledge. But this balance is very delicate. Is it? You have to focus your mind. And that is 6th chapter. 6th chapter is Dhyana Yoga. This is how Prabhupada takes the meaning of those chapters. Prabhupada doesn't take in a classical sense Dhyana Yoga Ashtanga. He translates Dhyana Yoga as Krishna Consciousness, if you see that. So Dhyana you have to do with attention. Don't be neglectful. Okay, I'll come to temple, do something, go back. No, it's a very important activity. You have to give attention what you're doing. If you're coming and having darshan of Krishna, you have to give attention. Who is this person? Let me know who is he. You have to give attention. I am seeing Krishna. I am seeing him. And you have to remember, he is also seeing you. It's not that you are just seeing him. He's seeing you. All of you are sitting, he's seeing you. So if you have that knowledge, you are conscious. If you are conscious of his presence, then you can act properly. If you're not conscious, you'll not be able to act properly, is it? So if you think you are seeing him, you come here, you stand here, and then you will start doing anything you want. But if you're conscious, he is seeing you, then there is a problem. Then you can't do anything. So just like I am giving you lecture, I am seeing you, no? You know I am seeing you. That's why you are little behaving properly. If I am not seeing you, if lecture is over, then you will be just doing whatever you want. So that's the idea. That is called Dhyana Yoga. Attention. Attention. You have to give attention to what you are doing, why you are doing, and you have to give attention to, are you progressing in spirituality or you are going down? You have to also check. That is Dhyana. You have to check and balance. You have to see whether you are advancing or not advancing, or you are doing you're just finishing your rounds, coming to temple as a routine. You have to check in your heart what's happening. And 6th chapter will give you the guidelines how to check that. Krishna is giving you a check and balance in 6th chapter. Where are you? How do you know whether you're going up or you're going down? You getting my point? That is 6th chapter. Be attentive. So what is 7th chapter? Knowledge of absolute truth. Now when you do action for Krishna, book distribution, preaching, chanting, whatever you can do. 3rd chapter. When you do 4th chapter, when you take knowledge of Krishna and soul, and when you do with attention, attention means without offenses also. Be attentive, no? Then you will get a gift from Krishna. That is 7th chapter. That is knowledge of absolute truth. Krishna will reveal himself in your heart. He will tell, I am this. It is knowledge of absolute, no? You will start understanding who is Krishna, not just theoretically, but by your experience. By experience. Now we know theoretically He is 𝗙𝗲𝗃 Anand, but slowly you will experience, yes, He is the reservoir of pleasure. Ornaments do not make Krishna beautiful. Krishna makes ornaments beautiful. Bhūshana bhūshanāngam. These kind of realizations you will get. It will not just be theoretical. Not just be theoretical. So that is 7th chapter, knowledge of the absolute. And in fact, also when you act for Him and when you serve Him, when you take knowledge of Him, you will also want to know more about Him, is it? Naturally, no? Then you connect with Him, you will want to know more about God. So Krishna tells, okay, fine, here, I am telling about myself. To those who are sincere, to those who want to know about me. Not by my words and by my experience. So that is 7th chapter, knowledge of absolute. But then the question comes, why should we know about God? Why should we know about soul? What's the benefit of that? That's a natural question. And that Krishna answers in 8th chapter. What is the name? Attaining the Supreme. Krishna says, yes, the knowledge of absolute and knowledge of soul is very important, because the result of this is beyond imagination of any mortal person. And the result is you will attain me after death. No more birth, no more death. You'll come back to me. You will have a life full of bliss. You will have a life where every day is a festival. Every word is a song. Every step is a dance. That word you will attain. So it's a big promise, no? It's a big promise. You will attain love for me. That is 8th chapter. So he says, okay, fine. Now, having known that by doing devotion, by acting attentively and having knowledge, you attain Him, there's another question. Okay, fine. So what is the 9th chapter? Most confidential knowledge. But now Krishna says, if you want to attain me, you have to fine-tune your devotion. You can act for me, you can take knowledge of me, but it should be perfect, without any imperfection. There should be no flaw. And then you can come back to me. And that he gives in most confidential knowledge. That is very confidential knowledge, 9th chapter. If you can understand 9th chapter, then you can make your devotion perfect. You can make your devotion flawless. So Krishna gives some secrets there. Secrets to fine-tune our spirituality, to fine-tune our devotion. Because many people do devotion, but out of many, only one will attain Him. No? Krishna says, Manushyanam sahasreshu kasyadati siddhaya yatatam api siddhanam kaschan mam veti tattvataha. Out of thousands who come practice spirituality, only one will attain me. Who is that one? Who understands 9th chapter. Who understands the most confidential knowledge. Who is expert. Is it? It's like that, no? Suppose your car breaks down and you take it to some mechanic and he's not able to mend it. So then you take your car to a more expert mechanic, is it? And if he's also not able to correct it, you take that car to more expert mechanic. Or maybe you take that car to some showroom. Okay, Maruti showroom, Honda showroom. Then, so those guys are expert and they'll be able to fix it. All three are mechanics, but there's a difference. One is, all of them have no mechanics, but one is expert, one is more expert, and one is most expert. Is it? There's a difference, no? All are chanting, all are coming to temple, but out of this, only one will go to Krishna. Who is that? Who will understand this 9th chapter? And 9th chapter is very difficult. You go and read that. And there are real secrets which Krishna gives, which is not even mentioned in Vedas and Upanishads, if you read it properly. And if you can apply that in your life, your devotion becomes perfect and fine-tuned, without any imperfections. That's 9th chapter. So, most of us have not even reached 9th chapter. You see this? Gita's chapters are like steps. Most of us are at first chapter. We are in problems. We are struggling with problems. That's all. Most of us are in first chapter. So we think morality is better than devotion. Goodness is good. We should be good. All these kind of concepts without God. And also we are just involved in our own life, no? Struggling with problems. That's most of us are here. Second chapter, we are just about quite there. We have knowledge of soul, knowledge of God. Third chapter, we are acting for Him. Most of us are in first 6 chapters. 7th chapter is realization of God. 8th, 9th is experience, that most confidential knowledge. To decode that, you need some experience. And then 10th chapter is opulence is absolute. When you get even a glimpse of experience of God, you will get hunger for Him. Is it? That hunger is different. Now we are not hungry for God. We want to know Him, but hunger is different, is it? Hunger is, so if you get so if you drink some Coca-Cola, then you want to drink more, is it? If Coca-Cola is, anyway, it's tasty or whatever. I don't know. Okay. So if you want to eat pastry, if you get a pastry, you want to eat more pastry. That's all. Is it? So that if you get even a glimpse of God, you will want to know more about Him. That kind of anxiety will come. You will become hungry for Him. And that is why Krishna tells 10th chapter, the opulence of absolute. Krishna tells His greatness in 10th chapter. How great He is. We want to know about God. Krishna says, okay, here I am. I'll tell you. How great I am. That is 10th chapter. And 11th chapter, He shows how great He is. He says, I don't just talk, I am great. I can show you how I am great. I'm not a flatterer, or I'm not a liar. I am God and I can show you. And He showed His universal form. 11th chapter is? Yeah, so He says, I don't just talk, I can show you. Okay, here I am great. But the point is, Krishna says in 12th chapter, so what is 12th chapter? Devotional service. Krishna says, I am not just great, I am sweet also. Devotional service, Krishna talks about His sweetness. So He talks about His form and impersonal, no? That it begins like that. Talks about His form. Krishna says, it is not enough to know I am great. Because if you only understand I am great, you will never develop love for me. You will develop fear from me. But you should know I am sweet to develop love for me. I want you to love me. Is it? So 12th chapter is sweetness of God. So what is more important, greatness or sweetness? What do you want to know? You want to know God is great, or you want to know God is sweet? What? No answers or what? Come on, how many people say you want to know sweetness? How many people say you want to know greatness? And that is the trick. A devotee understands his greatness is also sweet. Got my point? His greatness is also sweet for devotee. Everything is sweet. And that is 13th chapter. 13th chapter gives you knowledge to perceive everything properly. Nature, enjoyer and consciousness. 13th chapter will tune your consciousness so that you can perceive everything in right place. It is not greatness, it is not sweetness. It is not a choice. It is His greatness is also sweet. And His sweetness is also great. You see? His sweetness is the greatest sweetness in all the world. Nobody is more sweeter than Him. And His greatness is also sweet. Because the fact He is so great, and yet He is accessible to us, that's His sweetness, no? Is it? That is sweetness, no? And Prabhupada gives that example. If a Prime Minister, Prime Minister comes back to his home, and then his child climbs on his shoulder, and then makes that Prime Minister like a cart, like horse riding, and he does horse riding. So his greatness actually, because he's great, but he's acting like a horse, that increases his sweetness. You understand? You got my point? If a great person comes down, he appears sweet. If a great person remains great, he appears proud. That's okay, no? You understand, no? So if a prime minister is so great, he comes to the temple, he sweeps the floor with you. Then he becomes sweet, no? Is it? He becomes, oh, he's a prime minister and he's sweeping the floor with us. He's so nice. But if he's not a prime minister, if he's an ordinary man, and if he comes and sweeps the floor, okay, that's fine. So greatness contributes to sweetness. So both are linked, and that is 13th chapter. How consciousness means perception. How to perceive God. How to perceive yourself. How to perceive this word. How to perceive time in a proper perspective, so that you can see truth and not illusion. You can discriminate between darkness and light. That 13th chapter gives you knowledge. How to see this word. That's what 13th chapter gives you. So, and also, okay, fine. And also one thing. Okay, fine. So now you know greatness of God, sweetness of God. You know your soul. You are doing your devotion. So practically, Gita is over, no? It's over. But no, it's not over. The problem is, when you practice spirituality or devotion, there will be obstacles. There will be obstacles, no? Nothing is on bed of roses, you don't walk on bed of roses. There are obstacles. There are two obstacles. One is outside and one is inside. The first obstacle is in 13th chapter. Nature, enjoyer and consciousness. Your enjoying propensity will put an obstacle to serve God. That's 13th chapter. First obstacle. Obstacle from inside. Your mind will revolt. I don't want to chant. Your mind will revolt. I don't want to hear this lecture. But I have to hear because I'm stuck up. Maybe. Or I don't want to chant. It's boring. So that obstacle will come. You will want to enjoy without God. That's 13th chapter. But then there is obstacle from outside. That is 14th chapter. And what is the name of 14th chapter? Three modes of material nature. And so nature will also try to obstruct you. People will say what you are doing. Is it? People who are in mode of ignorance and passion, they will come and tell you are doing nonsense. And just like we were discussing now, kids class. This is all complete nonsense and you're doing crazy things. It happens, no? And then heat and cold, they will also disturb our mind. Is it? And so many problems in this material world. Politics, that will disturb our mind. Some things we are going outside, like around us, in temple, outside temple, whatever. Things will disturb us. And that is outside obstacle. Two obstacles, from inside and outside, 14th. But then Krishna says there's a solution to handle this, all these obstacles. And that answer is in 15th chapter. What is the name of 15th chapter? Yoga of Supreme. Krishna says there is a solution for this. And the solution is asanga shastrena dridena chitva. Krishna says solution is take the sword of knowledge. So, sword of knowledge and cut this problem from the root. So the solution for these obstacles is take knowledge. Take knowledge from devotees who are in knowledge. Try to understand. And the more you understand the process, the more you will be able to apply it with conviction. And the more you apply it, the more problems dissolve. Just like in night, the example is given, just like in night there is fog. Fog, you know fog, what you say called fog? Mist. So as soon as sun rises, the fog starts dissipating. The more the sun rises, the more fog dissipates. Similarly, the more convinced you become in philosophy, the more your obstacles dissipate like fog. You will not be affected by that. That is 15th chapter. Asanga, by sword of knowledge and with the sword of association. Asanga also means good association. A means Krishna, Sangha means association. Association of Krishna's devotees. That's also there. So by taking good association, and that association, good knowledge, trying to solve your doubts. So Krishna says, you should solve your doubts, get rid of your ignorance, and convince yourself. That's how you can surpass these obstacles. There's no other way. So snake, fire, enemy and doubt should be immediately killed. That's said in scriptures. So but the problem is we don't know what doubts we have. That's the problem. We ourselves do not know what doubts we have. So first you have to know what doubts you have. You have to take them out, deal them, solve them and finish them. That's what you have to do. That's 15th chapter. And that will happen in association of devotees, is it? So I'll suppose in association devotees you hear the lecture. Then after hearing lecture you will have some doubts, is it? Before hearing lecture you were convinced you know everything. Most of us, no? Most of us think why to hear lecture? We know but the days old age chant Hare Krishna and okay. But after hearing lecture you will have some doubts. Oh, this is new point, I never thought this. I never doubt in this. So devotees not only give you answers but they give you questions also. That's a good lecture. A good preacher is that, a good teacher is that who not only gives answers but he gives questions. What is more important, questions or answers? What do you say? Question, answer, both or none? What is more important? What do you say? Both? Or question or answer? Or none? There's option none also. So what are more important? Well, more important is a question. Question. Because if you don't have question, you don't have the need of finding the answer. What answer you will find? So most of our life are spent in finding answers and not question. That's what our life is, no? What is the answer for this? What is the answer for this? What is? But wise people, they look for questions. Genius people, they look for questions, no? Most of the physicists, they were finding answers. Einstein thought a question. What it is to be, what it feels when you walk at the speed of light. He thought this question. Nobody thought this question. It was absurd. It seemed absurd question, but he thought of a question. He developed that and he went to the theory of relativity. So questions are important and that's what you want to have. But you cannot have questions by yourself. Either you should be genius, stroke of genius, like Siddhartha. Siddhartha? Buddha? He had a question. Why we die? Why we take birth? Is it? Did you have this question? None of us. We even couldn't think of this question. Birth and death, it's normal. So these questions, either you should be a genius. Okay, Hare Krishna. Shri Radha Nilmadhav ki jai. So there's a question. Why altar closes? It's a big question. It was answer for you, altar closes, it's nice. But there's a question. Why does altar close? It's a good question, is it? But when you ask this question, then you get a good answer. Can you tell me the answer? Why do we close the altar? For Lord has to rest. Okay, that's one answer. But Lord doesn't need rest, no? That's one thing.
We have to rest.
We have to rest. Yeah, we have to rest. So that is why we close the altar. But in Jagannath Puri, they close the altar. So Jagannath Puri, they close the altar at around 1 o'clock in the night, and then they open it at 3 or 4 o'clock. Jagannath sleeps very less. They have to offer. He's always eating. So it happens like that. And if you go to Vrindavan, Baake Bihari, they close altar after every 5 minutes. So this answer doesn't seem quite correct. Lord has to take rest. No, we have to take, anyway, that's another point. So why do we close altar? There's an answer for this. Okay, fine. But you see the power of question, you see? You never questioned this. But there's a question and the answer is beautiful. And the answer is in Chaitanya Charitamrita. You read that book. And why do we close altar? Krishna purposefully allows himself to be behind these curtains to increase our desire to see him. to increase our hunger to see Him. So as soon as altar closes, devotee thinks, oh my God, again Krishna is out of my sight. So tomorrow he waits for the next day when again Krishna gives his darshan. And in that span of time, his hunger to see Krishna increases. So he nourishes our separation. And that's what Chaitanya Charitamrita happens with Mahaprabhu. You see, so it's a beautiful answer, no? But you will never even think of answer if you don't have a question. So, and Bhagavatam begins with what? Answers or questions? Questions. 6 questions. Sutta Goswami asks 6 questions. Oh, sorry, Shaunak Rishi. Shaunak Rishi asked to Sutta or? Yeah, he asked to Sutta Goswami 6 questions, and then whole Bhagavatam is answers. So questions are very important. And that is 15th chapter. Devotees association, they give you questions. And then you have to think about that, read scriptures, and then they will give you the answers. This is how we advance in devotion. Otherwise you don't advance, you are stuck up. Then you start thinking, we know pretty much everything. What is more to ask or answer, This okay. And then we start getting bored of, is it? We don't advance. So that is 15th chapter. Association of devotees and reading scriptures to find answers and questions and solve them. Before those questions come at that time when you are very weak and they can break you. Before that time you have to deal with all these questions and solve that. Because most of the time, illusion will not give you questions. But when you are very weak and very vulnerable, very disturbed, at that time she will give you these questions. And at that time, because you are disturbed, you will not find answers and you will break. You will leave. So when you are very weak, at that time there will be problems around you. Some devotee will do something, some devotee will do some outside problems, and then you'll say, why this is happening? And you get stressed up, and then you forget chanting or leave. But if you solve these questions before, okay, yes, what are the problems which are going to come? Is it? And then you figure out the answers from now. So at that point you will be strong to deal. Is it? If some problem comes without information, you will be surprised and you will get defeated. No? If an enemy comes and you don't know what are his movements, he will defeat you. He will take you with a surprise attack. But a good army, good general knows beforehand what are their plans, what will they do, all possibilities, and then have counterattacks, and that's how good fight happens, is it? So that's 15th chapter. Krishna says, plan. Take association of devotees. Beforehand, solve all doubts. Know what are your doubts. Solve all of them. Take all answers. That is what we are doing with devotees association. We are supposed to do that. Otherwise, what we are supposed to do. That 15th chapter, okay. So now we are solving our doubts. We are hearing. We are listening to lecture, getting answers. Everything is nice. But now we should know whether we are advancing or not advancing. So what are the symptoms of advancement? So that is 16th chapter. What is the name of 16th chapter? Divine and demoniac. So if you are advancing in spirituality, if you are coming near Krishna, one thing will, your demoniac qualities, your bad qualities will go down and you will develop divine qualities. Is it? You will start developing good qualities. So okay, fine. So can you name any good quality? Any one good quality? What is the first good quality? Avanitmam adamvetmam. Yes, humility, fearlessness, simplicity, truthfulness. Is it? These are good qualities, no? And can you name any bad quality? Okay, bad quality you all know, no problems. That's, anyway, you don't, Krishna doesn't need to even tell you. we are all full of bad qualities. So in fact, 16th chapter, Krishna gives a list of good qualities. You know that? But bad qualities, he doesn't give the list. He just explains the consequences of bad qualities. Because he knows that you all know bad things. So he doesn't give that. 16th chapter, your bad qualities reduces and your good qualities, they increase. You have divine qualities. Your mind becomes stable. Shama, Dama. tapa saucham. No matter how much problems will be there around you, your mind will be stable like a depth of ocean. No problem. Your mind will be fixed. All these good qualities. And the 17th chapter is divisions of faith. If you do devotion nicely, the second symptom of advancement is your faith will increase. Faith. Your faith will become unshakable. Your faith will become so strong that anybody who comes in contact with you, he will also get faith. Your faith will become contagious. Let me put it like that. Prabhupada said. Prabhupada's faith was contagious, no? Anybody who came in contact with him, he became a devotee. He didn't really need to convince like we are convincing. This is scientific reason, this is logical reason, this is emotional reason. Still he says, okay, bye-bye. I don't want your philosophy. Prabhupada said one statement, you're not this body, you're soul. And people are convinced. Because he had faith. He was not just passing information, he was passing faith. Conviction with that information, no? Prabhupada's guru said to him just once, you go to West and preach. And Prabhupada, he was affected by that statement, no? So, that's your faith will increase. That's the idea. Your faith will become unshakable. No matter how many confusing philosophies you come across, no matter how much confusing situations you are in, you will never leave Krishna, you will never leave chanting. You will be convinced there's just one option, and that is devotion to Krishna. You will be convinced that without chanting, I will die. You will be convinced that chanting is your food, and food is not food. You don't sustain on food. You sustain on holy names of God. That conviction will come. 17th chapter. And then what is 18th? 18th is perfection of renunciation. So when you do this, when you're advancing and you know that these symptoms are coming in me and all obstacles are going down, everything is nice, then you get perfection of renunciation. And the name is very, very different. Perfection of renunciation. Krishna doesn't say it's perfection of life. Ideally, the name should be perfection of life or perfection of devotion. But he says perfection of renunciation. And there's a meaning for this. Krishna says, your renunciation will become perfect. That means, renunciation means you will renounce everything which is not connected to Krishna. And what is not connected to Krishna? Tell me. Is there anything not connected to Krishna? There is nothing which is not connected to God. Just one thing is not connected to God. Our misunderstanding that some things are not connected to Him. That you will get rid of that misunderstanding. You get my point? We have a misconception that some things are not connected to God. Some things are connected. But perfection of renunciation is you will understand everything is connected to Him. So when you approach 18th chapter, then you will not say, I am wasting my time. You will say, I am wasting Krishna's time. You see, there's a difference. We say, I am wasting my time, but no, it's not your time. It is whose time? We think it is our time, but it is actually Krishna's time, and He has given this time to you on rent. You are on rent now. So you will say, I am wasting Krishna's time. So when you reach 18th chapter, you will not say that so from today I will think about Krishna. No. You will say that these thoughts belong to Krishna. You cannot afford to think anything except Krishna. That you will say. Because whose thoughts are this? Krishna's. If it is His thoughts, He has given you the thinking power. If He has given you thinking power, you cannot think anything you want. You have to think what He wants. It is His property. That is perfection of renunciation. Real renunciation is to see that everything is connected to God. That is real. You renounce your ego. That's the idea. The ego which is making us think that I am separate from Krishna. Which is making us think that some things, my life is separate from him, my thoughts are separate from him, my soul is separate from him, that you get rid of that, and then you can know everything is connected to him, everything is for his service, even bad is connected to him, not only good. So even bad is connected to him. But when you connect bad with God, it becomes good. That's the idea. So can darkness exist in light? Never. No? If you connect darkness with light, it will become light. Is it? If there is darkness and if you put light, it will become light. Light doesn't become dark. So everything is connected to God. Good, bad, everything. But we should know how to connect. That's the idea. We should know how to connect to Him. That is what is 18th chapter talking about. How to connect everything with God. How to connect your time, how to connect your food, how to connect your life, how to connect your thoughts, how to connect your consciousness. So to connect to God, there's a technique. There is a system to connect. You can't connect in any way, is it? You can't do anything like that. So if you want to connect to some person, if you want to have some relationship with that person, you have to connect with him in his way, not in your own way. You understand? So suppose if I say, I am thirsty, I want water, and you go in the kitchen and you decide, okay, Prabhuji is feeling thirsty, he wants water. So instead of water, let us give him juice. That's better than water. And you bring juice for me. But then I don't want juice. I'm having diabetes. Why do you give me juice? You see? So you have to connect to me in my terms, not in your terms. And that is 18th chapter. How to connect to God in God's terms, not in your terms. And that is perfection of renunciation. And when you learn this, your life is perfect, and then you go back to spiritual world. That is Bhagavad Gita. Who am I? I am soul. What is the purpose of life? Purpose of life is to go back to Him by learning this small technique, how to connect everything to Him. And then fine-tuning it by 9th chapter. And then learning how to act by 3rd chapter. By taking knowledge by taking 4th chapter. By knowing whether you are advancing or not by 15th, 16th chapter. And 16, 17 chapter. And then your life is perfect. Simple. This is Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita in 50 minutes. Sorry, I just got wrong. It was not 40 minutes. Sorry, it was 1 hour. Bhagavad Gita in 1 hour. Anyway, Hare Krishna. 𝗙𝗶𝗹𝗶 ki jai. Thank you very much. Can you just hold on? Just a minute. I just wanted to tell you otherwise. Before it becomes chaos, I want to tell you something. This is I want to repeat people who were there, they were there, that's okay. But I just want to tell, these are my lectures. I have some limited now, it's going to over. This is some pen drive. This is 16 GB pen drive, and we have 190 hours of audio lecture. What I am telling you, all these seminars, entire Bhagavad Gita, 𝗙𝗪𝗪, how to control mind, everything I've explained here, try to explain here. You can listen in your car, you can put it in your phone, and you get a pen drive for free. That's one thing. So you can have this, listen. One time listening is 100 times reading. So please keep on listening so you can have a look at this. And these are some books. This is Crazy Ideas, the name for preachers. So like I was having children class and they were asking pretty good questions actually. So all of us has these questions that why there are so many scriptures, why there are so many gods. So many people, why scientists are saying, God is not there. We say God is there. What is logical proof? All these logical proofs for all these questions. Now, who am I? Who is God? What is ghost? What is alien? Is there any other planets? And you need this answer scientifically and logically. That's the point. So I've tried to put scientific and logical answers in this book from Western philosophy, Indian philosophy, from Vedas, from all around to give you a broad perspective. And this is one book, Science Fails to Explain Life. It will tell you how we are being, there's a false propaganda that the life comes from matter. That's wrong. And that's absurd to say that. And I'm showing you how we are led to believe in this false propaganda. There's no proof for that. And how we are led to believe in the existence of genes, There are genes, but the concept of genes are changing, and it's changing drastically. Now scientists are forced to believe that there is consciousness in genes, there's information, and there's intelligence. There is, and that's what Vedic Upanishads say. So I'm showing everything, how there's evidence of higher intelligence in genes, within us. You don't need to look evidence for God outside, you can look inside also. And that's this book all about. So you can have these books, you can see, and these pen drives. And again, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Thank you for listening. Hare Krishna. 𝗙𝗵𝗹𝗪𝗀 Prabhupada ki jai. Okay.
So thank you very much. So we'll be standing in the back, and you can come in an orderly fashion and obtain these things for a token donation. There'll be a final class Monday evening, so please come and attend that as well.
So Monday evening I'll be talking about Prabhupada books, how Prabhupada books are special, and how should we read them, and what is the speciality, what is the genius of Prabhupada. They look simple, but they are deep. So I'll talk about all these things. Please attend that, and I think you'll benefit by that. Hare Krishna.